Hello, and welcome back to another brand new review, a brand new classic Doctor Who review voted for by you. So, in case you're new here, every 2 weeks on the channel, I will review a classic Doctor Who episode that is voted for by you. At the end of every review, I will show what four episodes you have to vote on, and that poll will usually go up an hour after the video. Except once again, like last time for Attack of the Cybermen, uh, which was the last classic episode review that I done. And this one, there is going to be yet another month gap between episodes. Why? Well, in case you missed it on Wednesday, for the entire month of May, I am doing Trilogy Month, which means I am uploading Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays of a particular trilogy for the next 4 weeks, starting on Monday. And there just isn't really enough time to actually dedicate to, every second week having a classic Doctor Who episode. I'm sure I could do that, but I like to just stick to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday time slot. And then, of course, this week as well, not this week, but the following Saturday, Doctor Who's back for season one of the new revival. So of course there'll be weekly reviews for that. So yeah, this is the only one for this month, and then but once we get back to June, because I already have that planned out, things will go back to normal. So then I'll go back to every second week and not taking the month uh, in between. So, as you can tell by the title, and now that I've rambled on for 2 minutes, this review is going to be for Day of the Daleks, which was voted for by you. And it was a grand slam of a victory. You can check my community tab to see, because usually after a vote, I take a screenshot of the results and make a community post saying which episode won. And I'm surprised in a way. Like, I'm not surprised because it's a Dalek episode, but I'm surprised at how these polls have been doing, because I've been picking episodes that I can nearly almost guaranteed will get picked. Certain Second Doctor stories that I think would end up getting picked that a lot of people like. Um, and then I get completely proven wrong. That happened when I had to review Four to Doomsday. That happened with Revenge of the Cybermen. And now it's happening again with Day of the Dalek. And so let's get into this review. What did I think of Day of the Dalek? It was shit. I'm sorry, I thought it was one of the worst paced episodes. Uh, Barely explained anything. They literally saved explaining stuff till the very last episode. We knew some bits of it, but that was it. There's a scene in this that happens that doesn't get explained at all. I thought the way that it was setting things up that it would get explained, but no, it does not get explained. So I am recording this on, I believe today is the 26th of April, a week before this is due to go live. So the Thursday, the 25th, I watched episode one before going to bed, and then um, I just watched episode two, three, and four today. I literally just finished episode four, and I was so confused at what was happening, what was the plot, that I literally had to read the blurb on the back of the DVD to figure out what was going on. So, what is this story about? Well, I'll actually read it from the back here. On Earth in the 22nd century, Daleks have enslaved the planet, and humans live in fear of their masters. Meanwhile, back in the 20th century, a peace conference is urgently needed to prevent World War III. When reports reach unit of a ghost at Audrey House, the site for the conference, the Doctor and Joe decide to investigate. Dangers waiting for them there, including a trip 200 years into the future without the TARDIS. Now that makes this sound like a very interesting episode, but it wasn't. And there was really bad editing done in this. For mainly just the beginning of episodes two and three. So yeah, episode one sets things up. We have this mysterious person in military garb with a futuristic gun trying to kill this person. Unit gets called in. We also hear that there's that World War III is about to happen. We see the Doctor and Joe working on the dematerialization circuit in it's not necessarily the TARDIS. It's the TARDIS console outside of the TARDIS shell. I'm sure there's some behind the scenes explanation as to why that is, but it's one of the few times that we actually see the TARDIS console outside of her shell. Um, and then we get a quick little appearance of a future version of Joe and the Doctor. Um, which never gets explained. Now, I'm not sure if it gets explained in a future episode, but the way I thought this was going, with the handheld time travel devices that these future, the 22nd century people use, that that's what would happen. That the Doctor and Joe would use it to loop back to there, but they don't. Um, and so episode one ends with the Daleks. Now, the Daleks in this episode. Oh boy. So it's so bad that this is the special edition of uh, Day of the Daleks, where on disc 2, the special edition includes a new version with specifically shot sequences, brand new effects, and new Dalek voices exclusive to this DVD. That's how bad it was. That's how bad the Daleks were, that they literally had to do a special edition to fix the Dalek voices. Now, this story is written um, by Lewis Marks. Now, normally, it's mainly for classic Doctor Who, when um, Dalek episodes are written, usually it's by Terry Nation, the creator of the Daleks. And this is the one, probably rare instance during classic Doctor Who where that wasn't the case. And it's very, very noticeable of just how bad of a script this was. So episode 2 happens. These people from the future, they come, they think that the Doctor is this person that they've been sent to kill. The 22nd century, I'm pretty sure they would have had some foreknowledge. If they already had knowledge of, this happening, um, where this event was taking place, that they would actually have a photograph, or something like that. But then again, this is 1972 we're talking about here. I'm thinking in Star Trek terms here, um, or even modern Doctor Who terms here. So I need to kind of like dial that down to a zero for budgetary reasons. But the episode essentially ends with Joe being flung into the 22nd century. So why do I also think that there's bad editing in this episode? It's from the catch up that they show from the end of episode 1 in episode 2 and the end of episode 2 in episode 3. Thankfully, it's fixed for episode 4, where they replay, obviously the ending to the previous episode, but they forgot to edit out the cliffhanger music to signal the end of the episode, which I thought, okay, that's gonna then lead into the title sequence, forgetting that I literally just already watched the title sequence. So that could just be me nitpicking here, as a film editor, or as a hobby. I did go to school for this, for a year, and then I never went back. But still, it's like I get it. I know the technology for editing was like massively different back in the 70s, where they literally had to splice together film reels and that. I might just be a little bit picky here, but still, the fact that it took until episode 4, I was watching it and I was like, okay, I know these people have come back to prevent to kill this guy. Not really explained why. We see the Daleks that are part of this for some reason. We're not really explained why. And then it all gets explained in episode 4. And by that point, I had read the back of the DVD to see what this episode was about, and that's how I know it was going to be a bad episode. Well, I knew it was going to be a bad episode after episode two, but that's neither here nor there because I also knew that one of the two John Pertwee Dalek stories I have been told, or I have seen the discourse online, that is absolutely atrocious. I'm not too sure if it was Day of the Daleks or Death to the Daleks, but I can definitely say Day of the Daleks sucks. I love John Pertwee. I haven't seen much of him. I've seen now this episode. I've seen the Three Doctors, and I've seen him in the Five Doctors, and I do like him. I have seen clips on YouTube of him. I affectionately refer to Pertwee as the James Bond of the Doctors. Um, but yet he couldn't even save this episode. Now I like Joe Grant. I definitely like Katie Manning as Joe. Again, I haven't seen many Joe centric episodes. I'm basing my fondness for Joe off of her appearance in the Sarah Jane Adventures, um, because that and the Three Doctors is it for me. Like as far as seeing, no, actually, sorry, there is another episode that I did see. I completely forgot all about it. I think it's called The Time Monster. It's a master episode, from I think it was season 8. I know for a fact that I don't own it. But I believe it was The Time Monster. Um, I won't bother remembering to edit in if it was that or not. Um, but yeah, so this is now the third third Doctor story that I have watched, and yeah, it's not great. The Daleks, the way they talk is atrocious. Um, the only other positive that I have is you can kind of see it in the background. Is it that way? No, no, sorry. It's the background of here, which is that he's at the very, very back. But I do have an original gold Dalek that was in this episode. Action figure that was released as I think it was one of the early History of the Dalek sets, like way before they just went to B&M exclusives. My mother got it for me on Littlewoods back when Littlewoods actually had some decent stuff. But yes, that is going to wrap up this review. So as I said, I'm going to now show what the next four picks are for the poll for which classic episode I review next. But that won't be out until closer to the time of when I'm going to review. My if I'm trying to remember here because again my notepad is in my bedroom. I believe it's early June, so it'll be obviously a week, but maybe a week or two before, um, like last time. So just so that way, just the way times go. So I'm not going to have it now. And again, if you comment on this video of what you would like me to see reviewed, I will not count it. It will have to specifically be on that poll, which you can find on my community tab. Um, I mention it in all these reviews, and thankfully that people do listen, or they just turn a switch off before we get to that. But these are the four episodes that I have chosen for a review: a second Doctor story, a fourth Doctor story, a sixth Doctor story, and the one seventh Doctor story. So I'm pretty sure I haven't picked this one yet as to go up for to bat. If I have, then you have a second chance. But the second Doctor serial is The Invasion. Um, Never seen it before. I know some of it is animated. I forget which. Episodes 1 and 4 are animated. Um, so yeah, it's one of the many Cybermen stories that Patrick Troughton got, and I believe it's one of the best. It's not the best. I think a lot of people will say Tomb of the Cybermen is the best. But we move on. The next option you will have is for the Brain of Morbius. Yes, this fourth Doctor story, which ties into the Timeless Child. And I know I just pissed off a lot of people by mentioning the Timeless Child. Um, but since season one is going to continue on with that, we'll see where the inspiration for it began in this. Um, and then the sixth Doctor serial is another Dalek episode for you to choose from, and that is Revelations of the Daleks. I am 99.99% sure I have not seen this. Looking at the back, I can say I'm 100% sure I have not seen this. Um, but yeah, this is a choice that you have for me to review. And the final choice is Survival. Yes, the final episode of the classic series. You can choose if you want for me to review the final serial of the show. And those are your four options. Once again, it is The Invasion, The Brain of Morbius, Revelations of the Daleks, and Survival. Now, once again, this poll will not go out until towards the end of this month because it's trilogy month. That's what I'm focusing on. Though I still have four movies of the trilogy month left to watch and review. So yeah, that's gonna wrap this up now, as it's gone on for Jesus Christ nearly 20 minutes. I did not intend for this to be a nearly 20-minute video, but that's either here nor there. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all on the next upload. I'll see you all for Trilogy Month next week.